Hello, this is David William Weisner, and this is another episode of David Weisner Speaks. Tonight's topic will be about Rikers Island. In 2014, I spent a year in the most notorious jail complex in the United States called Rikers Island in New York City. Let me tell you how I got there. As you know from some of my former videos, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder at 19, and I was on medication throughout the years and did very well. I got my college degree, I was a teacher, I was a music teacher, I did very well. Then, at a certain point, a doctor took me off medication and I became manic once again. And I had all kinds of horrible adventures in California, all around. And then my mother rightly had me arrested with a restraining order in order to get me to a psychiatric hospital to get me back on medication, which was a great deed of hers. Unfortunately, there was a judge who didn't think like her. It was Staten Island Psychiatric Court. And instead of putting me back in South Beach, where there were good people who would have helped me within weeks get back on my feet, he decided to stick me in Rikers Island. For whatever reason it was, he just didn't like me at all. So, on the first day of Rikers Island, they put you in there in like a cage more than anything, and there was about 12 men in the cage. One of them was smoking something. I don't know what it was. I was mad. I said, "Hey, can I have a hit of that?" I think, who knows, cigarette, weed, I don't know what the hell it was. It made me tired a little bit. Then, within an hour, there was a man there who had a grand mal seizure. He had epilepsy. I guess he was there a while. They didn't give him his medication, whatever. So the man started to twitch uncontrollably and started to go down. I forgot if it was backward or forward. It was a very traumatic memory for me. And then another couple of guys in the cell grabbed his hand. One guy, he had gold rings, and they pulled it off him as he was falling. And then he slammed his head on the steel toilet. Blood everywhere. I'm pretty sure he was dead. And they took him out. Whenever on a stretcher and blood everywhere. Welcome to Rikers Island for real. And that was it. Then after like a day in that first cell, they let us into this largest cell. I don't know, larger I say, maybe it was, I don't know, 15 yards by 10, with about 100 men in that cell. I don't think there were any benches. There were two toilets, two, one on the left, one on the right, and that was for 100 men for like 3.5 days, 4 days. And we laid there. Some people were lucky, had boxes or newspapers to lay their head. There were no fights in there. People were just fucked up. There were no fights that day, even for the 4 days, which is pretty surprising for Rikers Island, thinking back on it. But more than anything, it was just like torture to lay there like an animal, waiting to be put God knows where. They gave each of us 3 crappy meals a day, and that's it. I think we drank little milks or something. I don't even remember what we drank. But then eventually, I think we saw a doctor or a nurse or something, and they put me into what they call the MO, meaning mental observation units. Okay. And these things were really bad. It was full of mentally ill criminals. And just a lot of them were just probably just mentally ill people like me who just needed help. So I was in Rikers, and it was really bad. And I knew I was going to have to fight in Rikers because everybody has to at one point. The guards called it Fight Club, for real. Let me tell you something. I had to fight there, for real. I won't get into the fight tonight. It's in my book, if you want to read it. The name of my book is Bipolar Disorder Through My Eyes, a memoir of hope. Okay. It's on Amazon. It's on BarnesandNoble.com. It's in a few bookstores. It's my life story. That judge eventually died of cancer. Okay. I was in Rikers for about 4.5 months, and they let me out, and they brought me to a really bad place, a 3-quarter house in a really bad place in Brooklyn. I was manic. I wasn't on medication, and they said they were going to get us food stamps the next day, but it takes a lot of days of processing. So I was there without food, without money, without cigarettes, which I like. I'm addicted. Don't smoke cigarettes. No, I do, because I have an addiction to it. As a lot of mental patients do, because of the stress. So I took a train. I didn't have any money. I have nothing but the clothes on my back. And I took a train to Staten Island, to Manhattan. I jumped over the turnstile. And then I took the train to Manhattan, to the ferry. The ferry is free. I went to Staten Island, and I walked all the way to the Staten Island Mall to get my Social Security, try to get money, try to get food stamps for my own. I walked all night. The buses weren't running. It was like 3 a.m. I don't know, at least 5 miles, 6 miles uphill, up and down Victory Boulevard eventually. And there I knew I could survive because I had friends there. I had a very good friend in Staten Island near the mall. He lives in Long Island, but his parents were there. I rang their bell. They weren't home. I went around back, and his uncle answered the door. I wish I could say his name. He's such a beautiful man. He saved me that night. My shoes were all battered. There were holes. It was raining. He gave me his sneakers. He gave me a wallet that he had with like $40 in it. And he talked to me. And that saved my life that night. So I really wish I could say his name. What a saintly man. And so I walked all the way to the diner. Z1 Diner on Richmond Avenue, where they knew me, where I had gone there every Sunday with my best friend for God knows how many years. They knew me there, and they were very nice to me there. They let me, I had some money, so I had my favorite grilled cheese French onion soup. Okay, they let me sit there. The diner was open. I don't think it was all night. I think it was like till 2 or 4, but they let me sleep in the back where there's a bar and there are booths, very comfortable. They let me sleep there 2 nights. That is the generosity and beauty of some people. Okay. Now, eventually, I made my way back up to New Paltz, New York, where I live now, which is my favorite town in the world. And they, I was off my pills. I was pissed. I called back into the judge. Somehow I borrowed a phone. I called back down to the Staten Island courthouse, and I cursed out the judge on the phone, did a lot of crazy shit. And then within a couple of days, a cop car pulls up to me and arrested, said, "You David Weisner?" And I was like, "I guess so." And they said, "All right, you're going back to Rikers right now." And they took me on in a I guess it was NYPD, all the way back to Rikers. And I was not a happy camper at all. So then went back to Rikers, and it was the same shit. It's like 3, 4 days laying on a mat, waiting to be put in a put in a cell. They X-ray you. They put you through like X-ray machine. They make you bend down naked and spread your butt cheeks, looking for drugs or whatever. It's pretty humiliating. And then I was put in a different place, in all kinds of trouble, and uh, I was in a regular cell at one point. Um, it was better. It was just regular criminals, I suppose they call them, and I guess they were, but they helped me. They were nice people to me. They felt sorry for me. They knew I was on medication. They knew I had a problem. They really helped me there. They were quite nice to me there. They would say, "Dave, take your medication." And there was one guy there who really was nice. He was a cool guy, black guy. He's I'm not going to give him his name. He gave me a weird name, but I don't want to give you his name. But he was a really big help there. He would tell all the guys, like, "Don't worry, Dave is cool. He's just a little sick. We got to get him on his medication." And nothing really happened to me there. Nothing bad. And eventually, I went to the judge. I was in there a whole year, a Rikers year, which is like, I don't know, 10, 11 months. It was rough for real. For very real. Place is dangerous there. Okay? I took a hit. If you could see it, right there, where that mark is where somebody punched me in the head. Right there. Okay? It was a big fight. I went back at him. I gave him rights and lefts as best as I can. I'm not a fighter at all, but I had to fight for my life that night, and I won that fight. That actually happened in the first 6 months. But I just wanted to tell you about that. Then eventually, I went before the judge, and the DA finally gave in. They finally had mercy on me. They're like, "We want to let him out," and my lawyers were trying to get me out the whole time. Were trying to get me to South Beach like they should have. I told them, just get me to South Beach. I get better. I understood. I need medication. And the judge just hated me for whatever reason. I don't know. I was a Jew, and whatever it was, that's he didn't like me. So the DA and the lawyers talked to me about. Talked to the judge if we want to release him to the streets. Okay. It was in the middle of February. It was 14 degrees. It was the coldest day of the year. And the judge said, "What are you, crazy? We can't release this guy in the streets. He's dangerous. He's a criminal. He's the worst person in the whole fucking Rikers Island." But the DA's like, no, he's had enough. So very mercifully, the judge said, "Fine, if that's the two you agree upon." He let me out. And I had no money. I had some clothes with me and a bag of stuff. I had my little Rikers radio. That was the only good thing about Rikers. They allowed you to buy a radio from the commissary. If you had money, and mother put some money in the commissary. So, and that's how I got out of Rikers Island. Into 14-degree cold. I went to my friend, and she had the keys to my locker down in Richmond Avenue, or Forest Avenue, whatever it was, all the way down by the bridge in Staten Island. She gave me the keys to my my Foot Locker, so I was able to put on all my clothes. I put on 3 pair of socks. I put on pants. I put on like 3 shirts, 3 t-shirts, sweatshirts, hat, gloves. I was able to survive because of that. Thank God my mother still loved me after everything I put her through, and gave the key to our friend. I tried to sleep in the locker. They kicked me out. I was like, "There's no way to go. If you can't stay here, we're going to call the police." So I was like, all right. So I had a blanket. I took one blanket. It was 14 degrees. I went in the woods where I knew I would be safe, because I was always in the woods in Staten Island, in the parks. Staten Island is a very beautiful place. It's a little crowded now with traffic, but I loved it there. It's nature, and I love nature. So I slept in the woods It was very cold. I was able to sleep a couple of hours. And I woke up, my foot was frozen. Like, I don't know, water had gotten there. It was like frozen solid. So I went to Burger King the next day. And I said, could I come here? I'm a homeless person. Could I relax? I said, all right. I took off my foot. I had to thaw it out. It was so bad. And then I walked around a little bit. And I was in another area, uh, kind of a poor area of Staten Island. And I went to a deli. And I told the man, I was like, hey man, I'm out of jail. I'm homeless. You can give me anything, piece of bread, piece of cheese, whatever. He goes, no. I'm going to give you whatever you want. I said, all right, can I have roast beef and cheese? He's like, yeah, as much as you want. Made me a sandwich like this fat, a big hero. I'm telling you, there are good people out there. Great people out there. You know? And he gave me that. Best food I ever had. Okay? We'll get more into that. That's the end of the Riker story for now. Okay, just remember, there are good people out there. Very good people. Try to be one of them. More than anything, even though the judge was mean, I have to forgive him and all the people in Rikers. A lot of people helped me. I say more people helped me than hurt me, a lot more. You know, every criminal is also a person. We're all just people. We're all in the school. Remember, this is God's little blue schoolhouse, as I call it. We're just here to learn. We're fellow souls. We're brothers and sisters. I don't hate that judge anymore, even though he's dead. Even if he was alive, I can't help him. I can't hate him. All I can do is pray for him, and that he would never do that to another person again. I don't know what his problem was. He might have just been mad because he had cancer and took it out on me. Remember, you never know what's going on with a man or a woman until you walk in their shoes. So let's just all pray for forgiveness, okay? Let's pray for forgiveness for each other, for peace. Let's pray that no one ever goes without food again. I'm not going to pray. You pray for yourself. Just pray to God. There's only one God. God is love. And just pray today that everyone forgives each other. And more than anything, everyone in the world has food forever. Okay, that's the end of the episode. Have a good night.